So hello, everybody. My name is Chad Graham. I'm a partner at Cortrucent Security, and I'm pretty excited today. We have Tim Walters from Boomcloud joined us, and we've recently become a Boomcloud customer, which is pretty exciting. I'm a technology person through and through, and sales and marketing, not my thing. So super excited. On this podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about what Boomcloud does and why CRM is important. But before we get there, I'd love to have Tim introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks for having me out here. Folks like yourself are why we have a business. So, so Tim Walters with Boomcloud. We're an outsourced sales company. So what does that mean? We focus in on three main areas.
Yep.
One is cold outreach, which is cold calling, cold email campaigns.
Nice.
Another one is CRM. So we're a HubSpot partner, but we do have some experience in other CRMs. And then we do sales training and sales management as well.
Nice.
I started the business because, and we'll get more into this, but I was the director of sales at a smaller cybersecurity company. And I was also the cold caller, the marketing person.
So you've dealt with people like us before, is what you're saying?
Exactly.
That's awesome. That's great.
And I had, that was my thought was, I bet there's other companies out there that are in the same position where they need to build out these other areas of sales.
Cool. How long have you guys been doing it? How many people do you have? Where are you at? I know you just moved into a new office.
Yes, we did.
That's pretty cool.
So this is our 6th year, which is pretty cool. I wasn't big on anniversaries until we got to 5 years, and I'll do that again at 10 years. But we're at 14, and we need 3 more already.
Cool. Awesome.
So growing at a good clip now, and we're in Bucks County. Well, we were in Bucks County and working remotely for the last 5 years, since 2020. But like you said, we just have a new office now in Hatboro, in the borough of Hatboro. So
that's great.
It's fun.
Yeah, congrats on your new office.
Thank you.
It's really cool.
Thanks.
So you guys specialize in HubSpot. We're a HubSpot customer. It's super exciting to us in the sales side. What do you typically see in businesses this size? Like, what leads them to Boomcloud? What are the key things that they need to do?
Sure. So there's really, I would say, 2 size companies that come to Boomcloud. So I'm going to have 2 different answers, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
So companies with no sales teams. What ends up happening with them, with you guys. Exactly. So they come to us because they want to grow, and they know they need to invest in sales, but they've probably tried to hire a salesperson in the past, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was saying this before we went on here, that's like 90% of the clients we take on that are the smaller teams or no sales team. What happens is it's not their fault. They just think that's the answer to their problem is hire a salesperson. Now, the issue with that is, we used to talk about this all the time, is, if you look at 3 salespeople, one's a rock star, leave them alone, let them go, they're a rainmaker. Yep. One is close to quota, you can probably coach them up and get them there. And the other one, not so good.
Not so good.
When you're a small business, you have a 33% chance of hiring the not so good.
And that's the problem we had. I mean, it's definitely, you're 100% right. I mean, we hired a couple of different salespeople over the years, and 2 problems. Like, we didn't even know how to identify the rainmaker or the person that was going to do this or that. And we didn't know how to build a process. Like, and Shane and I, it was the craziest thing. Like, I feel like we failed them, right? Like, we didn't even build an environment that they could be successful in.
Sure.
So, And it was really hard. Like, we bought the tools, we had this stuff, and we've certainly been at companies and been involved in those kind of teams, but we just don't have that skill set. So I think you're totally right.
And that's, so once again, nice of you guys to say that, because a lot of folks will say it was the salesperson's fault.
Listen, we felt differently in the beginning, right? Yeah, but it was definitely, I would say it was our fault.
I mean, and it definitely is, there's shared responsibility on both sides. So when they come to us, our process is to build the sales infrastructure first. So get to a point where you can support a salesperson. So, and that's multiple different things. It's make sure there's cold outreach going, make sure there's marketing going, make sure the CRM is set up in the right way to reflect your sales process. And then when it is time to hire a full-time salesperson, now there's coldish or warm leads coming in, marketing is set up, and then you get to a point where, okay, well, now, how do I pay this person? How do I motivate them? How do I manage them? And that's another area where we help clients. And we see clients come to us in that area too, because it goes from the owner or founder led sales is the buzzword way to say it. But then they become the manager of a salesperson. Maybe they've never managed a salesperson before, and we're different. They're motivated by money. They're ex-athletes who need to be, they're growth oriented. So there's a lot that goes into that that we help folks. So that's the small business side. And then with some of our larger clients, they'll come to us because you mentioned this earlier. They bought a bunch of tools. There's a lot of sales tools out there. And now, they're good. Some of them are good. Some of them are too expensive.
Yep.
We test them all. But now they're at a point where like the salesperson whose time is best spent in front of customers is managing a tool. And that is not what you want. And that's not what you want your sales manager doing either. Yeah. So they'll come to us and we can help. We basically take that work off the plate of the salesperson, the cold outreach, the building of the email campaigns, the prospect list.
Using the tool, doing all the hard work for that. Yeah. And it's so right. Like I see it. It's so funny, like being involved in that stuff. And like, I love how you said, was it founder-led sales?
Founder-led.
That's pretty much what we've done, right? It's been word of mouth and founder-led sales. And it's so challenging to extend beyond that as a small business. Like it's just almost impossible.
It's hard.
So, and I like the idea. We spent most of our careers before we started Cortrucent working in larger businesses. And so we had established sales teams. We spent millions of dollars on Salesforce.
It was already in place.
We've used HubSpot, we've used Sugar CRM, but there was teams of people doing that stuff. And I never realized how complex it was to set that environment up and maintain it.
Yes.
It's a lot more than I realized.
You just set off a trigger, Sugar CRM for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever use that again.
Oh, you used it before?
I used it, yes.
Like before Boomcloud?
Yeah, at IBM, they use Sugar.
Oh,
they called it something different, but they use Sugar CRM. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we won't use Sugar CRM.
Yeah, they moved to Salesforce eventually, but it was painful.
So you mentioned growth a couple of times, and obviously everybody that I'm sure talks to you is like, well, Tim, we need to grow the company. We want you to be part of that. How do you build growth patterns for companies, and how do you work with them and be able to build growth, sustain growth, like build that environment? Because I think as founders, as technology people, that's just stuff like we don't have it.
Yeah. Well, it's a great point. And once again, why we do have a business model here, which is because a lot of folks that start a small business are passionate about that particular industry. Yep. They do the work in that industry. Technology folks are doing the tech work. Accountants are doing the accounting work. Yep. They don't have time and or want to go and make cold calls or go and find new prospects, things like that. Yep. So when we talk about growth with them, we try to get them on a think about the long term. And I believe that you create your own luck in sales. And by doing that is consistent activity, consistent prospecting. So I'm somebody who, I still do it today, but you need to carve out an hour or two every single day to do prospecting, whether you're the sales manager or the owner or whatever. Like I believe that goes a long way. And so what we try to get through with our clients in terms of growth is you need to have multiple different areas of sales and a plan for those different areas. So they bring us in to do the cold outreach, and that's great, but that's not the end all be all. There still needs to be a channel strategy. There still needs to be a conference strategy, a networking strategy, and a marketing strategy, and kind of talking with them about that and like what that looks long term. That's how we get into that growth conversation with them, is these processes and these activities, they just have to happen for a long time. You just have to keep doing them.
And so you're saying if you build the process, you do it for a long time, you can build a predictive model of what the growth looks like.
Correct.
And that works.
Exactly right. Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah, it doesn't work like that in technology.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd tell you that. Yeah. We can predict that the systems are going to die or they're going to have to replace them.
Sure. Yes. Well, and we see look, I know that's every situation is different. Some companies, there's maybe investor money where they have to produce certain results in 2 months, or unfortunately, sometimes companies come to us like we're their last resort. Like we've tried this, nothing is working. And that's not an ideal place to be for for them and
Yeah.
for us either. We don't love to hear that either
Yeah.
because we're not the end all be all. We're part of the overall strategy, but
Yeah.
that overall strategy and consistent execution that'll create the predictable results.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
What so when you're working with a company, you're working with a team, who do you typically interface with? What's your typical connection point? So if I was talking about companies that we could engage you with, who would you want to talk to?
Sure. So it depends on the size, obviously, but most is if it's a smaller business, it's the owner.
Okay.
That's their baby. They want to grow it. They can sell it better than anybody. Whether they think so or not, they know it better than anybody. Smaller businesses, the owner. Larger or mid-sized companies, it's actually either the marketing director
Okay.
or a VP of sales.
Okay.
So the marketing director, which I never thought would be folks who we would work with, the cold outreach piece, the top of the funnel piece, we call it outbound. The outbound creates their inbound process as well.
Gotcha.
And so we, are consistently pushing messages out, emails, calls. Then we can tie those messages and those emails to them visiting the website and creating a form and filling out a form, and then that's your inbound. So we work with the marketing folks a lot too.
Okay. It actually makes sense because with content and website, landing pages, social media, like I can't even, this environment seems so much more complex than it was 20 years ago.
Yes.
I mean, 20 years ago, you had to book a business, a phone, and, we used to laugh at you guys all the time because your numbers would just get higher and higher and higher. And we'd be like, well, they got to hit it again.
They got to keep going. Yes.
It's totally different now, right?
Hard. It is. I mean, I've done door-to-door sales, not residential, but I've done door-to-door knocking on businesses, dropping off business cards where that's what they wanted you to do.
Yeah.
These days, that's not the best use of your time. Although I hope it comes back because it was
Still a little bit more
scary,
fun, right?
but fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get to meet people.
You're meeting people. People, it's more fun when you get shut down in person than on the phone.
Yeah.
But that was
true.
like our first sales. Like I remember it was, here's a list, call it. Call that list or go visit those people and try to close a deal. Now it is so different. You can get it a list easily. That's the easy part is you just buy a tool that has contact information.
Get a list.
The hard part is you might call the same person 30 times, but then they visit your website and they buy on your website and no one knows that it's because you called them 30 times. So like that part's tricky.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for salespeople.
That's great. All right. So one of your questions that you asked me, what do most companies get wrong when it comes to growth?
Yes. So we talked a little bit about this. The first thing the small businesses is they immediately jump to hire a salesperson.
Yep.
I do feel like that they need to build the infrastructure first to support that salesperson.
Totally guilty. We did that. Yeah, that was us. Yeah, we hired the person and they struggled.
Yes. Yeah, no. And hey,
work.
it happens, unfortunately. Yeah. Whether, like I said, whether it's you supporting them or them not being a good salesperson, it is what it is. That's one thing. And then the other is not continuing with the sales efforts. So, and what I mean by that is, say you do a campaign for a specific product and you did an email campaign.
Yep.
You got no hits for it. And then you stop.
Yeah.
So, just because it didn't work for 1 month doesn't mean that it's not going to work in 2 years. And I think that where they get it wrong is they look at it too short term.
Yeah.
You can always tweak the messaging. If you're not getting the responses, use a different tool, use a different company, but don't stop.
Yeah.
And so I think where they get it wrong is they'll stop and try something new. So, email campaigns didn't work for me, so I'm going to go to chamber events now.
Yep.
And then chamber events don't work for them anymore. And
so
it's the common theme here is the consistent execution of it to build it long term.
That was a really hard part for us, and it was even worse than like we would just stop. When something didn't work, it was a salesperson, it was an email campaign or a system that we were trying to implement, and we didn't have a process. We'd get discouraged.
Yeah,
like we would just stop.
Right.
I mean, sometimes it was 9 months, 12 months before we ever got back to it. And it's one of the reasons I'm super excited to have a company that's close. You're right in this area. You can talk face to face. We can do this and actually have a podcast. Because I don't want to get back to that point where we fail, become discouraged, and
Yes.
wait another 12 months to start the growth cycle.
To do it
So,
again.
yeah,
Yeah.
it makes
Now,
total sense.
thanks again for the business. I mean, we're excited to work with you.
Yeah, it's cool.
So,
It's gonna
yeah.
be awesome. What if you had to point out two things, Boomcloud, somebody sees this video, why do they pick you guys? Besides the fact that you have the most hair out of
Yeah.
any company that I've ever seen.
Gray hair,
Must
but
be
yes.
must be a sales trait, right? Everybody,
Yes.
nobody on your team is bald.
We
I
have
was
to have
actually
good
kind
hair.
of
That's true.
I was kind of disappointed in
We
that
have
when I
good
saw
hair
that.
on our team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. So, uh, these are, these are two reasons. I'm going to lump these two things into one reason, but, I never thought that I would have to say what I'm about to say, but we're humans making phone calls.
Yeah.
So that does separate us right now. There's a lot of, now look, don't get me wrong. We use AI to be faster and to integrate our systems and to help with content. We absolutely do. And it will make us better and make salespeople faster. But we're still humans making phone calls. And to me, from a sales perspective, that's very important. And it separates us.
It's a pretty big differentiator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be when I started the company, but it
Yeah,
is now.
I bet.
And I get that question a lot. And the second is, we're building the team here in the United States as well. I'm a big believer in that you need to be able to articulate what you're selling over the phone.
Yep.
And it might cost a little bit more money to do that, but we see better success because we understand the industry. We can talk about it and we can relate to it here. So
it was a big thing for us too. We don't use offshore development. And the reason is we believe that understanding the business problem and understanding the business is as important as solving the problem.
Totally.
So
Yep.
I 100% with you.
Makes
on
sense.
That. That's great.
Can I add, which is kind of a third thing?
Sure.
But I'm going to call it the second thing since you only asked for two.
You can do
This
three. You can do
piece-
five if you want to. It doesn't matter. We have unlimited video, so
Right,
yeah, we can do
yeah.
as many as you want.
So this piece, I believe, really separates us. We get lumped into the lead generation category, which is fair because that's what we do.
Yep.
But I believe we are way more than lead generation. And that's why we call it outbound and outbound execution and sales consulting, because it may sound corny, but we talk about it with all of our clients is we truly look at this as partnerships. So we are not the lead gen company that you're going to hire to get, hey, I'm paying per meeting 15 meetings for this month and I never want to work with you again. That's not our style. I don't believe in that model. I don't think it works. I've worked for IBM and ADP where we've used lead gen companies where they're paying for the meetings and you show up to a call and that person was forced to be in that meeting. So we want to understand the business and what makes it success. Why is this engagement going to be successful for them? And it usually comes down to, close deals, right? And revenue. Sure. And so we focus on targeting the right prospect, having the right conversation, and finding an opportunity that person is showing up to a meeting because they have a need, they have a budget, they want to be pitched. Yeah. And to me, I think that's what helps us be separate from on the outbound side of things. And then we're all sales leaders as by background too, so we can bring that expertise to our clients.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the major differentiators for me was when we were on the first call. I think it was you and Steve, and you guys were like, "Hey, and we'll help you manage the sales process. We'll show you how to do it," and it was just so eye-opening because it's so 100% in line with what you just said. Like,
Sure.
we don't want to just drive meetings,
right,
and have people show up for no reason. Like, we want to build the whole process so that you guys are ingrained in it and you get better at it, and that's going to help us be better at it. That is something that we had never heard before from the company. So totally new.
Glad to hear it, and that's the fun part. We love doing that part.
Yeah, it's totally cool. Totally cool. Awesome. Nice. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate you jumping on. I think that was like 10 or 15 minutes. And
thanks for having me on.
Stay tuned. Yeah, you come back. You can bring your people, do your own videos here. It'd probably be better than having me on it, but you never know. Or you can interview me on the next one.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We should do a customer roundtable. Yes, I like it. Cool. Well, thanks for having me on, Chad.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.